what it was like the first time you went over to America to what the difference was between training in England and in America?
Okay, surprisingly, it wasn't that much different. So going back then, obviously we didn't have all the stuff we've got now. So I didn't know I knew what the address of the Inosanto Academy was, but I didn't know what it looked like. Somehow in my head, I'd got it to be this phenomenally amazing place, like the Seven Pagoda, like the pagoda with 7 levels in Game of Death. So I wanted to go over. So I asked, because I wasn't under Guro Dan at the time, so I asked Rick Young, my instructor. He gave me a letter, phoned over to the Inosanto Academy, gave me a letter, and then I took the letter over. And there's a funny story about the letter, because I'll tell you that one separately in a second. So we kind of flew into LA. Obviously, going to any major city like that is a big buzz. So we went into LA. Time difference meant we'd gone backwards in daytime, so we were still alive. So we went down to the academy. At the time, then the academy was through a closed entrance, but it was no bigger than. It was just a building. It's just a building in a row of commercial buildings, which was an absolute stunner to me. I was like, wow. Okay, I thought it would be loads more. I went into the reception. They were expecting me. I had to show the letter. What I didn't realise at the time was that people in the academy itself weren't able to train with Guro Dan unless they'd been there at least 3 years. So I'd got the letter to let me in to go and train in his classes with him. But even before that happened, I had to train in some of the other classes first for them to make sure that they were okay. I think Paul Monkton's just coming on with us now.
Yeah.
So once I got inside, that was the actual place itself was no more impressive than one of our academies. But you have to remember, at the time when I went, there wasn't full-time academies in the UK. So it was kind of like walking into probably into Dudley, something like that, a little bit more shop fronty than Dudley. The biggest thing about being in there was once I got past reception and they set me up, and I went into the area where they were training. As you walked in at the time, just on the right there was all of Bruce Lee's equipment. So there was his 400-pound heavy bag. There was his. He used to have a tool for. I've got my arm up in the air, but he used to have a tool that was like two metal pieces of metal like that with springs in between. If you look up some of James Lee's books, he made this stuff for him. So it had 2 pieces like this with springs in between, and then Lee used to use it to squeeze to practice his headlocks on. And there was a big sign. There was a big sign on the thing. Please do not touch Sigong Lee's equipment. So I stood by it and I thought, have I come this far? Do I really? So I thought, a 400-pound kicking bag, that's got to be worth a touch. What are they going to do? Throw me out? So I waited till nobody was looking, give it a quick touch. But the actual experience itself, I think it probably was a little bit of a leveler for me, because a few years later, we went back. Was it 2004, Matty?
Yeah.
2004, we went back. Matty was with me. So there was 10 of us. So by then, obviously, I'd been training with Guro Dan on a regular basis, so he knew who I was. So we didn't need the introduction then. We went in, and first of all, they wanted me to train in Guro Dan's classes and not the other guys. But then when Guro Dan found out, he moved them all through into his classes. And we were training. So at that time, Eric Paulson was teaching at the Inosanto Academy. Crafty Dog One of the Dog Brothers was teaching there, so we did a big Dog Brothers session with him. He walked into the academy in a pair of shorts, a pair of flip flops, and a big Irish hound with him, and some of the things that threw me, for example, was how quick the Americans were to self-promote. So it would be like, "Hey, buddy, my name's Rich. I'm a specialist in what was the one guy? Medieval sword for movies. And when I could come to your school, you could pay me $3,000. I could teach you, and I could teach your students. And I charge you $3,000, and you charge them $200. And then I come to England, you paid for." And I had quite a few doing that, and I was like, "Whoa, let's just chill this down." The training itself, it's different training with Guru Dan. Hi, Paul. It's different training with Guru Dan in the class than it is in a seminar. So the classes are just the same as we do. They're structured just the same. So you're working around stuff rather than in a seminar with Guru Dan. You move from thing to thing. So it's a very exciting experience, but it wasn't as surreal as it may have been. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about what it was like for me to go and train in America with at the Inosanto Academy, Paul. So I don't know what point you came in on that.